because of your design, to speak and tell people what to do more than other designs. Because of that manifester part of you, you have that in your design that you're like, right? Because a manifester, and just to put it out there, David Nagel is a manifester. Manifestors are like, I'll tell you what to do. Here it is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, and you can hear this in David, it doesn't matter if you speak proper English, doesn't matter if you stutter, doesn't matter if you have all the right words or you're the most articulate or poetic person, doesn't matter. When he says it, people are like, They just eat it up. And manifesting generators they have the impulse to do that, but they don't have the design to create that receiving. And so it can be really frustrating for you guys because you're like, but I have all this stuff to say and teach and the people are not receiving in the way that you feel like they should be. Yes. And it's just a matter of slowing yourself down to tune in. Is this person the one that I'm supposed to be saying this to? And Nasima, for you, this is true of any manifesting generator also, but you have that open throat, which means that you actually allow others around you to express themselves. That's the other part of your design that's really special.
Cool. Wow.
So there's a lot of reasons for you to ask questions.
Yeah.
So welcome to the call, everybody. Nasima was just checking in with me and we were geeking out on human design. Catherine, I actually haven't heard from. I expected her to be here today, but Renee decided to take her kids on vacation before school started. And so they took a long weekend, which I was really excited to hear that they were doing. I'm sorry that she won't be here today, of course, but that's where Renee is. And Kristen is like hustling to get her, like there's money moving, and I just set the boundary if she gets it current. I'm not planning to kick her out of the group, but I'm not letting her join the call until she's current. It's time. So that's just the roll call. And I have sales calls from Priya and Nasima. Is there anything that you guys would like for us to look at that you haven't already sent me?
I forgot. I actually kind of have a sales. It was so bad and I didn't want to send it in.
I missed
Can you
that.
hear me?
Can you
My
say that
internet
again?
went off a little bit. I said I did record that conversation with Lenice on Sunday, but I was so off that I didn't even want to like send it in.
I mean, so I'll just share a little something. I just had, I'm in actually a sales training and development program that Marla's leading. It's new, with people who that all have 7-figure businesses. It's been really fun to look at super high-end sales and what it means to be unapologetic. And just FYI, everything that I'm learning there, I am bringing to you guys. So you're reaping the benefits of both. And recently, we're doing the same thing. So we're submitting sales calls for review, and I sent in a couple, and one of them was one that I was like quite proud of and kind of celebrated. Like this was a particular thing that I hadn't really done before. I was really excited about it because she had just taught us how to do that. And then I sent in 2 others that I was like, I'm not so thrilled about these. These were really weird people. I didn't know fully how to like respond to them. And of course, the one that she chose to share with the group was the one where I was least empowered and least clear. And it was so uncomfortable. I wanted, like to be seen, not just by my coach, but by all these people who I think are so epic. not being myself. That was really what was uncomfortable for me about it, was I was like, that's not me. And some of these people don't know me that well, and now they're gonna think, it just pushed on all my little like, oh, sweet insecurity buttons. And it was super, super helpful. And I think that actually people were really, it was in service to the group because of what I was doing. And the fact that I was the one doing it, because I mean, you guys know me, I'm a fierce, badass motherfucker. There's not a whole lot that takes me out. But this particular call, I got taken out. And so it was interesting to look at it. I think that people really, it was actually really powerful to look at it. So I'm not suggesting, we don't have to, Michaela, but I just wanted to give you that frame, because if you think that there's something there, it might be really interesting actually to study it. So it's up to you.
Well, the thing is, like, and this has happened with this person. This is the second time it's happened. I mean, it was like a way in which I got like really nervous and wasn't centered, and the whole orientation to the conversation and the relationship was misaligned to achieve my purposes and desires.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is something that is a piece that I realize that I don't have alignment about, which is like with certain people, I can talk about what I'm doing. I can get into a sales conversation or referral conversation with them, and it's very clear and aligned. And then sometimes I'm totally in I just want to call it the wrong mode. It's like an insecure, kind of needy, or thinking I have to get something from a mode. I'm not even quite sure what it is, but I can just feel the energy's totally off, and it'll never ever work well from that orientation. It's like,
why were you in that state before you got on the phone with her? This is important for everybody. This is what I'm working on with all three of you. This is like our little mini mastermind, just putting that out there. For as long as the three of us, like the four of us are here, the three of you are here, you guys are all private clients. You're all working with me. So this is something, this exact thing that Michaela is talking about is something that I'm explicitly talking about with each one of you individually. And so the fact that the three of you are here is, there's a little place to look at.
I'm sorry, I'm outside because housekeeper just got here. It was the only time she could come, and it's kind of noisy. So the answer to why was I in that state was the answer to the larger question of how I've been collapsing my power and my commitment and love and choice from my vision. And so then because of that, I hadn't really centered and grounded myself in it before the call, and wasn't really clear about making it more about her. Like there were all these things that there would have been opportunities when she was sharing. It was like that flashlight thing from San Diego. Basically, my subconscious had it nonstop focused on me for the most part.
So let's zoom out for a second. One of the things that I notice, just like tuning into each of you have done this at different points in different ways. And I see this as a pattern sometimes in my clients when they're sort of determined to be stuck. Which is that you have this powerful awareness. And Michaela, you just demonstrated this. So I'm gonna like poke at you a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, poke away, because you know that I'm in an inflection point to stop doing this, or if it happens, to be able to recover really, really quickly and
Great.
Not let it go very far down the track of crazy town.
Okay, great. So I love that openness. That's fantastic. So step one, which is huge, and Michaela just did this part, is I have this awareness that I'm doing this weird thing. Oh my God, the flashlight is in my goddamn eyes, Jesus. All right. Now that's my voice. That's how I talk to myself. So actually you could even be more kind, you know, and that's the next layer of mastery in step one is like, oh, look, I must be really tender about this because I'm putting the flashlight all up in my own face. This is so vulnerable for me. Okay. And allowing yourself to feel that, both the shame or insecurity or doubt or whatever it is that's coming up, and also the compassion for yourself, to hold that space for yourself. So that's step one, is awareness. You can't move and do anything to change if you don't have the awareness that there's something off to begin with. So that's part of why I'm teaching you guys to get interested when things don't go the way you want, to get excited about the contrast, because that's how you become aware. Oh, I'm doing something funky. What is this? What am I doing? So it's a helpful thing. It's uncomfortable, but it's helpful. That's step one. What I see Michaela in this moment doing is just kind of stopping there. And this is what our conversation yesterday was about too, Michaela. It was just like, okay, but then what? Like, what are you going to do with that awareness? What does that mean? If you're going to change something, or you're shifting something, or you want to do it differently, or you don't like the result you're getting, so you want to do something different, and you know now, oh, I'm like not really showing up fully. I've got the flashlight in my own face. I can't see anything. What's next? Oh, I'm going to turn the flashlight the other way. And it's not complicated, almost ever. The next step is very, very simple. What does that look like? What does that mean? What do I need to actually do? Because it feels like it's permanently cemented in this direction or whatever. And so that's the part that I want you guys to really be focused on. Because I think that actually all of you have a very high self-awareness. And you'll continue to grow in your mastery around that, but that's not the part that I want us to focus on. It's what you're doing with it. And are you being kind to yourself, compassionate, as you see what you weren't aware of before? Excuse me. And you gotta stand up, then this is not letting me. Okay, now I'm with you. And then what are you gonna do about it? What's next? How do you use that awareness to take you in a direction that you haven't gone before? And then how quickly can you do that? Right? For the first one, cultivating the awareness, once you're cultivating the awareness, then the question is, how loving and kind and compassionate can you be with yourself as you see the things that are challenging to recognize, right? Step two, in doing something with the awareness, once you get masterful at that, then the question is, how quickly can you do that? How quickly can you pivot? How quickly can you move from step one, compassionate step one, to step two? So that it's like, it becomes something that on the outside, people don't even know you're doing it because it happens so fast. People will look at you and they'll think, oh, Nasima just doesn't get bothered by stuff. Oh, that's not true. Nasima gets bothered by stuff all the time. She just knows how to use it to go deeper and use it to pivot back to the thing that she actually wants. She knows how to use it to become more conscious and then shift her energy so that she can create exactly the thing that she wants. Questions, comments? What are you getting from what I'm saying?
I really like that. Like, just when you said the words, the pivot, like, to me, this is like something that I feel like I could grab like in a moment. It's like, oh, right, pivot. Like, actually think of it as like, oh, the practice is to pivot. This will happen. The practice is to pivot. What does that look like? What do I have to do? What can I reach for to get that to happen quickly?
I have trouble coming up with the what's next. So the first step is to create this awareness. And then what do you do with the awareness? What's next? I get a little cloudy there.
Yeah, I know. All of you do. That's why we're talking about it. So first of all, you get I just want to be very clear. You get cloudy because your subconscious, this is the middle class mindset showing up in your coaching. Well, I have the awareness. I'm looking at myself. Isn't that enough? That's what the subconscious says. No, fucker. I want the goddamn sale. The only reason I'm really even looking at this is because I want the sale. So like, if I'm gonna bother going through the very uncomfortable and sometimes painful process of looking at the truth of how I'm showing up and where I'm not showing up, then you better believe I want the thing to change. Right? So you can, let's just outline this. Like when you look at, I'm just going to keep using Michaela's example because it was just so clear. I was insecure. I wasn't in the right emotional, energetic state. I had the flashlight pointed at me. And she felt that and didn't really connect. And so it didn't really go anywhere. That's awareness. That's huge. She's taking some personal responsibility I mean, right? Like 6 months ago, she might not have even had the awareness. She wouldn't have even had the conversation. To begin with, there's all kinds of things we can celebrate about that. And that's important. I want you guys to also practice acknowledging and celebrating yourselves. This is an important piece also for all of you. That you give yourself credit for what you're doing. But giving yourself credit for what you're doing, it's like, this is coming up for me because of Priya, I'm sure. It's like when you've got a kid in your class who has not done his homework all year, and then he does his homework one time. Well, boy, you want to celebrate that. That's a huge deal. Does that mean he's going to pass the class? Probably not. But if you don't celebrate it at all, then he doesn't get any positive reinforcement. There's no support to help him to keep going. So you have to do both. Acknowledge yourself, celebrate yourself, be grateful for all that you've done, appreciate all that you've done. And then what? Then what's next? From a place of possibility, from a place of abundance, from a place of ease, from a place of love, from a place of compassion, playfulness, confidence. Right? So the celebration is also really important because without that, you tear yourself down. And it's almost like, you know, what I'm getting is that it's important for you guys to be cultivating an objectivity as you do this, so that it's not such an emotional, right? Like if you make the sale, you're on a high, and if you don't make the sale, you don't deserve to live. Like it's very extreme. The way you talk to yourselves, the way you write to me about your experience of yourself when you aren't getting the result is very harsh. So it's important that you bring in like, nah, I'm doing great. This is freaking, I'm serious about this. And there's more. So how do I get to that more? So the subconscious doesn't want you to do more. Okay. So even that, Priya, there's an opportunity to like look at the part that is showing up when you're like, I'm confused. I don't know what to do with the awareness. I don't know what to do. What's next? Even in that, you can be like, oh, this is my subconscious. Now, the awareness that it's your subconscious doesn't necessarily give you the answer, but that's an important piece of awareness. Yes, nailed it. Identified my subconscious hijacking. Awesome. Okay, what would I be doing if my subconscious wasn't in charge? What would this look like if I was clear? What if I knew what my action steps were? What what would that mean?
Can I have another thing I might be interesting also for Nasima and Priya is I realized that like with the conversations I've been having that let's say are more referral calls, I'm looking for connections and direct introductions. The way that I've been doing those has actually been almost a little like a sales call where I'm finding out what they're up to and what they're doing. And, you know, there's just this genuine interest to see like, well, what do you need? I'm asking them this question, you know, like, what do you most need now? What's your biggest priority? What do you need? And it's very natural. And then I segue into, you know, saying what I'm doing and asking them for an introduction to somebody come to mind who matches this or who would want to be part of this. And these conversations are consistently going really well. I could tell myself, oh, it's because you already know them, you already have a relationship with them, but it's really more of how I am inside. And I guess that's like kind of the, and this is where I need to, like, I trying to feel the pivot of having that just open, genuine curiosity. And I'm like, not trying to get something from them. I definitely want to find out if they're a match. So it's this energy inside me, because when I have that energy, it actually makes me feel more insecure and I'm not as grounded and centered in my speech.
When you have what energy?
That feeling of like, oh, I'm trying to like get something or tell them something that they don't want, or you know what I mean? Like as though I'm going to be insecure and a neediness and a feeling like anticipating a rejection. Does that resonate with you guys at all?
Of course. So right now, I want everyone to write down how you want to experience yourself. Unconditionally. Whether you're working, whether you're coaching, whether you're making art, whether you're selling, whether you are having sex, whether you're eating food, whether you're in the coaching group, whether you're having a VIP day, like anywhere. What are the things that you always want to experience? Just take a couple minutes, maybe 2. You guys need more time? Okay. All right, so I'd love to hear these things.
I said calm, clear connection to possibility, self-trust, surrender, clarity, self-compassion.
Great.
I put present, unafraid, joyful, playful, loving, caring, curious, capable, courageous, strong, and compassionate.
Okay, that
A lot
was
of
really
C's.
fast. I didn't get them all. I
Okay.
think I want to get them all. I got present, unafraid, joyful, playful. I think I might have missed one. Courageous, compassionate, and then I just completely gave up.
Loving, caring, strong, curious.
Read me your whole list one more time.
So present, unafraid, joyful, playful, loving, caring, curious, capable, courageous, strong, and compassionate. I get stuck on the C's.
Great. Okay, beautiful.
Okay. Mine was I want to experience myself connected and in love with my desire and my purpose. Connected and in love and appreciation for my unique essence. Clarity about my choice and my commitment to my creative purposes and vision. Feeling my power to choose how it's going to be for me. Generous interest and curiosity in the people and things around me.
Great. So just notice, Michaela wrote hers as much more, there's just more language in the way that she wrote about it. So you can feel into that as well. Part of why I'm asking you to do this is because I want you to come up with your, I'll give you an example. So at the Mindshare Summit, which again, not my event, Nasima might be your event. You're the only one of this group that I would recommend consider that event at some point, maybe. Mostly it's a big sales event. You go there and everyone speaking is trying to sell you something, and they're great. So it's not a bad place to meet people, but and then there's a huge community of health and wellness, very body focused practitioners. So you could actually probably find some great community there. That's not what you need right now. But I'm bringing it up because it's a very well produced, well organized event. It's kind of amazing actually how sophisticated their organization is. And one of the things that they had the whole time were these 3 banners with 3 words. One of them I think was elevate, one of them I don't even know. The 3 big words that represent the Mindshare Summit. You can tell how relevant this conference was to me because I don't even remember. But what I liked about it is that everything was filtered through those 3 words. Every speaker, every activity, every sale you could track it back, how it supported those 3 pillars. And so it's an organizational schema. You could use this to build your business. You could use this to think about what kind of relationship you want to create, all that kind of stuff. Ideal client, you can use this in a lot of different contexts. But right now, I'm wanting to help you use it around how you show up. That this is your commitment. That you're going to be calm, surrendered, trusting, clear, compassionate, present, joyful, courageous, loving, strong, curious, connected, powerful, generous, interested, no matter what. Are you perfect? No. That's not why you make these lists. But it's like refining your GPS. And actually, in this case, we could play with the GPS metaphor a little bit and say that, your GPS metaphor is your financial goal, the number of clients you want, the number of sales that you want, whatever. And the words that you just wrote down, those are your filters for how Google Maps directs you. Right? No toll roads, scenic route, whatever. knowing you can do this however you want. You can do sales in anxiety, or you can do sales in calm. You can do sales in surrender, or you can do sales in contraction and control. You can do sales from a place of being generous and curious and interested in the other person, or you can do sales from a place of being unconscious and selfish. So why not do them in the way that actually aligns to what you really want? Once you have those pillars clear, you've got your banners on your big stage, you see them every day, you know everything that you do in your life is designed in alignment with those banners. Then when something isn't in alignment, you'll feel it. Oh, not feeling empowered right now. I don't feel present at all. I literally want to punch this person in the face. I am the opposite of generous, right? Whatever it is that you experience, not a bad thing. It's data. And I just want to flag, this is so different from how most people are living their lives, right? Most people are living their lives feeling like feelings just happen and they're at the whim of those feelings. And to some extent, that's true. But that more than that, that whatever they're feeling, that determines their life experience. So if they woke up on the wrong side of the bed, oh, well, it's going to be a shitty day today. But that's not true. They woke up on the wrong side of the bed to help them wake up. Oh, I have to bring more consciousness to my life in order to create exactly what I want. Waking up on the wrong side of the bed is helping me to recognize I need a little bit more love today. I need a little bit more like, spa day, in order to show up in the way that I want to. So, you know, like if you could rewind back to that moment where Michaela's about to get on to, what kind of animal is that, Michaela?
A squirrel.
Oh my God, I was like, is it a monkey? Are there monkeys in LA? That was so funny. Okay. There's that creature just brought in some of that playful, generous, curious energy, right? So maybe you want to get your stuffed animal, the version of your stuffed animal is a little bit more playful than the dinosaur. Yeah, maybe that's where I'm supposed to pause. That's why I got distracted by the squirrel. So let's just check in. What are you guys getting from this? I'd like to hear from each of you. Just like short, couple sentences. What are you hearing me say? What are you taking away? What's landing for you?
All right, I'll go.
Well,
go ahead, Naseema.
All right. Yeah, I'm just really getting how, however you wake up any day is an opportunity to sort of see what's going on, what do you really need, what do you want. And I like this list as a prompt, also to sort of, what's missing right now? What am I not being? Am I not being playful? Am I not being joyful? And why not? And that this sort of to support my commitment to being able to show up to do what I'm here to do.
So it's like we've been going for these months learning about how to do this, and I genuinely want to get good at this. I really want to develop mastery, because I think to get mastery here, it's like such mastery of managing my energy and my focus. And the other thing that I'm getting is really being more intentional and deliberate about the practices and the cultivation of, oh, right, okay, so now I need to be a little more compassionate. And then how am I going to pivot? What are the handles that I can most take hold of to turn, right? in this moment? Okay, I know I have a few handles. What's the one that I need right now or that I can reach for? And having just much more intentionality about it, like the way I would go about cultivating any practice that I've done in my life, where I have that intentionality and I'm practicing it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Great. I love it.
So maybe this is more of the middle class mindset, but I feel like I'm constantly, at least especially in the last couple of days since our VIP day, I'm constantly like noticing when panic arises and just like patting it on the head and putting it down. Um, and I guess like, I mean, I feel definitely the shift in my energy, but I'm like looking around for some sort of like result or some sort of impact. And I'm not seeing it other than like I feel a little bit more connected. Like it's not produced anything for me yet.
What is the meaning that you're making of that?
Um yeah, I guess that's me stepping out of my calm, clear connection to possibility, self-trust.
Is that true?
That by making meaning,
Like right now, are you feeling less calm, connected, trusting of yourself?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so if that's happening, then okay. So what are your tools to reconnect to yourself?
I mean, my biggest tool is just to reread this list of the truth of who I am and get connected to that. And so much of that is surrender and letting go, and like that person is not worried about results.
She's not worried about results, partly because she gets them. And she knows that if she's not getting them, it's because there's something funky happening that she just isn't aware of. And as soon as she figures out what that funky thing is, then she knows she can get them.
Okay. Um,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense. I guess.
Part of what I'm hearing, Priya, is like, right, and this is true for all of you, but I'm focused on you in this moment. Your subconscious is always running the thing. So if you are choosing consciously, I'm showing up calm. That's funny, right? I'm showing up calm, damn it. I'm showing up calm. Like just saying that word, I can feel it. Trusting myself. Ooh, that's tender because there's so many places where I haven't trusted myself, but that's part of why I'm dedicating this day, this hour, this moment, this conversation to trusting myself. I don't have to do it for long, just one moment at a time. Right? When you're choosing consciously, that's when you can create something different. But anytime you're not choosing consciously, that subconscious program will just take over again. And that's important to understand, just so that you know if you're not choosing consciously, you are choosing unconsciously or subconsciously. And so of course you go back into panic. Of course you go back into worry. That's what your parents taught you, like big time. Big time. Worry, panic. There is danger out there. Don't go anywhere we say you can't go. No bees for you, young miss. No, just whoever you want to marry. No. Let us guide you. We need to show you the right way. You cannot trust yourself because the world is so goddamn dangerous. Listen to us. Do everything we say. Is that close to the mark?
Yeah.
So again, celebrating yourself. Oh, I'm working on this. This is deep programming. And I'm working on it, God damn it. Good for me. And then from there, what's next for me? if I really didn't have this program running, what would I choose instead? Oh yeah, I wrote down this list. Let me refer to that. How do I do that? How do I choose that right this moment? Not as a suppression technique. Okay, you got to feel the feelings as they arise. But you can then use your feelings to shift your energy. You use your feelings as data about what you're doing on the inside. What wants to be seen, what wants attention. What's the longest, Priya, that you have ever spent in a state, actually all of you, I want you to type the number into the chat. What's the longest period of time, and you can approximate or take a little guess, that you've spent totally embodying that list of words at one time? No judgment. There's no right or wrong answer here. Beautiful. So I'm going to propose that you guys play with a couple things. One, just give yourself, like, so let's say Priya and Michaela, give yourself the task of feeling basically connected to these words, like this is your primary experience for the rest of the day.
I'm sorry, somehow I missed all the words before give yourself for the rest of the day. And then what was in between that, I didn't.
Give yourself the challenge of feeling connected to these words for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Just the rest of the day. Nasima, for you, just from now until the end of until the break. And everybody, you can just do, you can also do that. You don't have to, like, if you're like, oh my God, 6 hours, I don't know if I can do that. Great, so choose 6 minutes. Let me see if I can do this for 6 minutes. Let me see if I can feel these things because I choose to for just a little bit longer. So just as an experiment, let's say that we're gonna break in 17 minutes. Just see if you can stay in this state that you cultivate, that you love, that you long for, just between now and when we break. And then we'll restart the clock, okay? And then are you guys on board with that challenge? Michaela? Okay. So we're working with 17 minutes right now, which is actually a really special number. Abraham Hicks actually has this teaching that it takes 17 seconds to shift your vibration, to think a new thought, to have a new feeling. And that they have other things about it that I'm not remembering right now, but it's like 17 seconds is like a special sweet spot according to those particular astral beings. And so there's two things that I said I was going to share. The first one is what I just shared. So like challenge yourself to just do a little bit more than what you've done before. Give yourself a start and an end time. I'm going to stay really connected to these things for this sales conversation, this class, this meeting, this referral call, this sexual experience, this day, whatever. So that you set yourself up for success. So it's not just like, be enlightened from now on, right? Because that's too much. So then you feel like a failure, even if you have exceeded your past records, because you have set an unreasonable expectation of perfection. This is not about perfection. Because the second thing is just get excited when you notice that you're not feeling those things, because it's another challenge for you to see how quickly you can come back. How compassionately can you become aware, and how quickly can you come back? So you've got lots of things to celebrate. Of course, you will celebrate the results of making sales and making money and having a successful business that thrives, all that stuff, of course. It's important to also celebrate, just like Michaela was saying, just feeling the freaking thing you want to feel. Most people have never done that, guys. They've never done it in their lives. It's just luck of the draw. They're like, I'm just on the ride. My emotions are guiding this. I have no control. You guys are doing something different because you want to, and look at your fucking faces right now. Look at Priya right now. Look at Nasima right now. I can see that you guys are doing it. I can feel you. Michaela, you're like in shadow, so I can't quite tell. Yes, there you are. Oh yeah, I'm doing it. Have you guys watched Hook? Let me just see if I can show you this. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. This is just the first version that I found. I'm not sure if this is the best version, but basically, this movie is a retelling of Peter Pan. Robin Williams plays Peter Pan as a grown man. He's forgotten that he's Peter Pan, and I can't remember how, but somehow he gets taken back to Neverland. And he's not a kid anymore. He's like 40-year-old dad. So he's like, I don't know how to fly. Fairies don't exist. Where the fuck are we? He's not himself. And this scene, right? So you guys getting the metaphor here? He's been programmed out of his truth. So much so that he doesn't even know where he is. He doesn't even recognize it. He's got literal hooks inside him. Boom. Okay. And then he's hanging out with the Lost Boys. They're having dinner. And then this is what happens. Let's see if this works. You'll have to forgive me. If not, I will find the right, if this isn't the right clip, I'll show you the right one. Oh, wait, where did it go? Okay, hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. Could you hear that at all? A little bit?
Very little, not really.
Okay, let me see if I can do better. There's,
What were you thinking?
You know how sparkling ice is the perfect combination of real fruit flavor and fizz? We were trying to come up with something that was equally innovative.
does that sound any better? It's still pretty quiet, isn't it? All right, so I know that was not the best quality. I think that watching Hook this, weekend or something would be a great idea for you. The reason that I wanted to show that to you guys, however poor the quality is to feel like you're doing it. You're doing it. And the way that these lost boys are like, Peter, you're doing it. You're remembering who you are. And I mean, it makes me like tear up a little bit just thinking about it. 'Cause it's like, yeah, this is what we all need. You guys have your own little lost boy tribe that's been waiting for you to come back, waiting for you to remember who you are, to integrate all of it. Yes, you're not a child anymore. You need to be an adult. You have all these, but with that adulthood comes amazing power, amazing responsibility, amazing potential. You can create anything. So with the little stuff too, when you're like, yeah, look, it's been over 10 minutes and I'm still feeling my jam. Yeah, you're doing it. You're taking control. You're taking the reins. You're doing it, Nasima. You're doing it, Priya. You're doing it, Michaela. Give yourself that. And then from there, and this is a little bit of a, like torn about whether to tell you this, but I'm just going to tell you. He remembers how to fly after this. He doesn't know. He's like, what the, right? He's such an old man. But after this happens, he's like, oh, wait. And then he remembers how to fly. So it's like when you get, this is not the end, right? Feeling generous and curious and interested because you choose to is not the only thing that matters. But boy, is it goddamn important. So that's the first layer. And then once you have that, then you can fly. You can make the sales. You can meet the clients. You can connect with your full purpose, which is doing all these things, feeling all these things, compassionately using the moments where you're like, oh, wait, I forgot how to fly for a second. Let me find that again. Okay, yeah. Oh, got it. Oh, now I'm back. Plummeted toward the ocean for a minute, but now I'm back. Okay. Beautiful. Do you want to say something?
I found this swimming while in the water today, and there was these amazing ospreys around here, and they've been like talking to me. And this feather, I don't know if it's an osprey feather or not. I think it's probably but it was like, what is that in the water? And I swam up to it. I'm like, it's a feather. I stuck it in my hair, and it's like, yes, don't lose that.
Hmm. Well, and you can see, I think part of the reason that this clip has such power for me is also because even when he flicks the food at Rufio, this very cute relationship. Rufio's not in the old story, he's just in Hook. He's like the new leader of the Lost Boys, whatever, and he's, threatened by Peter Pan returning, but like secretly wants Peter Pan to be his, leader. So that's a thing over the course of the movie. But when he flicks that food at Rufio, which by the way, actually we could study this too, because Peter and Rufio during this scene are still not liking each other very much. Rufio is constantly like, yeah, you think you Peter Pan? Fuck off. And so it's like they're not friends, okay? What activates Peter's ability? It's a little like, fuck you. I'll show you. And he doesn't even know what he's doing, which is why I sometimes tell you guys, like, leverage your anger, leverage your intense emotion, because that contrast momentum will take you to a no place. Right? And he flicks his spoon, which is empty, at Rufio, and his emotion is intense enough, clear enough, that's what activates his manifestation. And then he's like, oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, I was just pretending and playing a game, and he's at a fork in the road there. That's a moment when in an alternative storyline, Peter could get up and be like, I don't know what that was. That was weird. Somebody just played a trick on me, but I'm out. You guys have your fucking invisible food. but all the Lost Boys are like, you're doing it. Peter, this is you. And so it fuels his confidence. It fuels his clarity. It fuels his momentum to have that reflection. And I just want to, Naseema, are you open to sharing the email that you sent me earlier?
Yeah, and I tried, I thought I shared it on the page in the group, but I didn't see it there. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. I don't know why I didn't. I mean, I posted it, but I don't see it. And I tagged you. I thought I tagged you in it, but I don't know if you guys. Yeah, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and copy it in. Because yeah, I kind of feel like that was exactly what was happening to me yesterday, and it was the emotion that shifted things.
So let me actually see if I can, just out of curiosity, Naseema, what's your experience been of how I've been responding to your emails?
Good. I wanted this one to be responded to sooner because I was really excited about it, but I'm like, oh, she's probably busy.
Well, so just read it. Let's just hear you read it as we all look at it.
Okay. Oh, well, half of it's cut off. Let me change my view somehow.
Can everybody else see it?
There we go. I can do it. Okay. I woke up today in a funk with a lot of doubts and fears running through me. The money is going down and down and down.
Just time out for a second.
I went to work. Okay.
Time out. I just want to interrupt you for just one moment. Because I think you guys you'll see in Naseema more easily than you necessarily see in yourselves. Just feel your body reading that sentence or hearing her say that sentence. Right, the inner Lost Boys, how do they feel when Peter's like, invisible food? Mm-hmm. Right, you can feel it in your body. That's all that I'm wanting to highlight, just to help you increase your awareness that you know when this is happening. So keep going.
I went to work out with my trainer, and somewhere in the time during my workout, I started to feel a coherence. Like I could feel my vision, as if it was happening. I could feel what it would be like to enroll 2 clients in a month in my 6-month program and hold them through the process. This is how I work. If you want it, I'm here. If you don't, that's fine too. It feels amazing to be this clear. It's dropped into a new place. I want to stop worrying about sales and simply do them. It's the only way I can do this work, and that I know is an expression of all I know and will know in the future. I really don't know what's going to happen next. I really don't know where the money is going to come from. I do know and feel exactly what I want to do. And at least now I know what I'm asking for. It's hard to describe, but maybe, just maybe, I've found clarity and certainty. I'm also going to post this to the group. So much love for holding this place for me to step into. The sky's not even the limit. So just feel then again. I missed this one sentence. Great. This is me. This is what I do. I'm here now and I'm ready. So feel your bodies now. Listening to Naseema share that. Different. Not better, not worse, just different. I'm gonna share something else, but first I just want you guys to be able to see me. This is an interesting thing because I'm sharing this for a couple of reasons. One is like celebrating Naseema. Let's do that same thing with her, right? Yes. Okay. And then also to just get a little meta, that my response, and Naseema, I'm glad we're talking about this because my experience is that this was a totally different kind of email from you, and a totally different response then is what I gave you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Naseema's been checking in with me every day, updating me, sending me sales calls, stuff like that.
Most of those emails are kind of like the first
Lost
sentence.
Yeah.
I can still hear you, Nasima.
Okay. I got you guys back.
I'm generalizing here, but same thing with Michaela of recent time, like last few days. So you guys all have had this experience of like, I'm doing, right? You're just kind of
and it's like a
through.
drudgery. Yeah, a drudgery.
And so then you send me emails and I'm like, I feel called to do different things, but in general, I'm not celebrating those emails. I'm not like writing tons and tons back because that's not coming from the place that I can help. That's not the person that writes the emails that say I'm a victim and I can't do this and I'm stuck and I don't know what to do is not typically the person that hired me. It's a different part of you. It's not a bad part of you. It's just not a part that wants to work with me, actually. That part's kind of like, fuck off, get out of my head. Okay? So I wanted to also just share my response because the Lost Boys metaphor is how I'm responding. So yes, big capital letters. Fuck yeah, you are nailing this, woman. Peter, you're doing it. This is amazing clarity. When you feel your vision, when you feel clear, everything is possible for you. And now I'm just reflecting back to her things that you said, replacing worry with action. Yes, fuck yes. That's the key for Nasima in particular. And then how exciting that your body held a key to your clarity. Congratulations. I'm just like giving her more. I'm feeding this voice. So I'm sharing that with you in part because you guys are all one-on-one clients and I want you to feel that. This is not a manipulation. Don't misunderstand, okay? I'm not saying you can only send me certain kinds of emails. You send me whatever the hell you want. That's part of what you're paying for, is that you get to send me anything that you want. And I am going to respond to the part that hired me, always. And so when that part's not writing the email, you're not going to get the response that you might want. Or that part might want, I should say. So let's take a break soon. And before we take the break, I just want to check in. How are you guys doing with your connection to your vision about how you want to experience yourself? Just notice. You can do that if you want to celebrate. If me asking that question, you're like, oh, I kind of forgot about that part. That's okay. Just come back. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna do one short thing before we break, and then we'll take about a 10-minute break. So during that break, I'm gonna ask you to do it again, like set that little time frame up. But right before we break, I want you guys to just write in the text, in the chat, what are you taking away? Like if we were to end this call right now, what are you taking away? And what do you think your next steps are? And again, this is open-ended. There's no right or wrong. Great. Okay, great. So I'm going to just give you an answer. Okay. When it comes to taking action right now, really, truly, the only thing you need to be doing is making sales. Okay. So if you're ever like, what is my next step? It's still sales. It's not changing.
It was those 2 sales calls the day before that triggered me into that funk that triggered my clarity. I mean, it was the sales calls that did it. I don't think I would have ever gotten to this without it.
Power of the nose. Thank you for sharing that. So similarly, like the goal is not just to get no's, okay? The goal is to keep going. Actually, somebody was just telling me, I was on a podcast this morning, and the guy that was interviewing me was like, I have this Harvard, I think he called it a Harvard criteria or something. I can't remember what he called it. But anyway, he was like, I only take on clients that are going to do the work regardless. Right? Harvard is a great institution, not because they have great faculty or because they're old or they have a lot of money. They're a great institution because they have great students. The students that go to Harvard competed to get in there. They did the work to prove that they should be there instead of somebody else. Now there's a little competitive thing in there that's not really what I teach, but you can feel the energy of the kids who are like, oh, I'm fucking getting into Harvard or MIT or whatever, you know? Those kids go on to become amazing, not because Harvard is such an amazing school, although it might be, I don't know, I haven't gone there, but because those kids are determined to be the greatest, the best, the biggest versions of themselves in that framework. And I'm sharing that with you just because I want you to feel that that's who you are. And if that's not how you've been showing up, then that's what needs to shift. Because when you make that shift, or when you just moment to moment choose to be that one, then what I have to give you is off the charts, priceless. When you show up and in any way you're waiting for me to lift you up, I just can't do it. And not because I don't want to. I would love to, but it won't work. Because the way that my mastery transfers is when you want it so bad you won't settle for anything less. And by the way, Priya, I just want to acknowledge you. I can see you practicing. Your whole body is different right now. Do you feel that?
Yeah, definitely.
So the action hasn't changed really, but the way you're showing up in action is, and the tools you have around staying in action in alignment with your values. This has been in my copy for years. Staying in alignment with your values, in alignment with your principles, in alignment with your integrity, in alignment with what you actually care about, that there's no trade-offs. Priya, did you listen to the webinar yesterday? I'm just curious. Do you know I was talking about you a little bit?
I heard when you were talking about the work of doing sales calls, so being miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because the other person that I was talking about was also on the call, and she was like, me. Nisima, you have a different thing. But you guys remember when Priya made 27 calls in 1 week or something, right? That was an example of Priya, nose to the grindstone. I'm going to be miserable, but I'm going to do it. God damn it. Which is great. It's great. It's not a bad thing. But it was missing this part that you're finding today. And this is not the first time that you found it, but you're just integrating it more and more and more, deeper and deeper and deeper. Claim that. So we'll take a 9-minute break. We'll come back at 3:25 Pacific, 6:25 Eastern. And your job is just to play with this inner challenge. How much can I stay connected to my vision of how I want to show up in this life, in this world? For fun, right? There's no failure. Can't fail. If you realize that you've fallen off, you just bring yourself back. No problem. No shame. Okay? And then we'll dive in again at 25 after. Hi, guys. Okay, let me just read Priya's comment here. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying. And this is where the teaching about ease comes in, right? That it's meant to be easy. So for me, because I like to make things hard, that's always been a real like important word for me in my list, right? What would ease look like? What would it look like for me to make, you know, $200,000 a month consistently with ease? Working less hours, having more fun. And just to put that out there, I mean, you guys are all a reflection of that. Because I have fun working with you. So that's part of it. And as I continue going, that's a huge part for me, right? Is working with clients who will do it no matter what. Working with me is what helps them find ease. They're going to do it no matter what. And so I'm sharing that with you for two reasons. One is, like, I'm claiming you guys, you know, in terms of that surrender, love, breathe, claim. You guys are the manifestation of my claiming the ease and joy that I want in my life. I'm genuinely excited about your visions, genuinely excited about the service that you are here to do in the world. Genuinely excited to be part of the team that you've chosen to help you make it real. And also, so you can kind of feel into, like, I want to say, like, the standard that I'm holding. Because we all have the subconscious also. And the subconscious is not on board for what I'm talking about. Subconscious would love to make life harder, because that will keep us safe and protected. It'll keep Priya's parents alive in her head. So does that make sense what I'm sharing? So it's like you can use that to help you in those guardrails. It's like, oh yeah, this is starting to feel like a fucking pain in the ass. Okay, how can I get myself back in the saddle? Maybe that's better. The horses came up yesterday and now they're up again. It's like, I'm starting to fall off the horse. Now I'm working very hard to stay on. Have you ever ridden a horse and, like, on this side? It's hard to ride a horse this way, but to do it from over here is almost impossible, right? This is really hard. I can feel it in my abs. I can feel it in my hip flexors, my IT, and all this. I'm working really hard. Okay, what would it look like for this to be easier? Okay, well, this is maybe not the easiest, but this is at least, I'm not working against gravity anymore. So you're welcoming in the contrast because it helps you see that you have gotten out of alignment with your desire. And I think that's a big part of what I'm trying to transmit that I'm not sure has fully landed, is that this next step is not only alignment way more of the time and dedication to that alignment and prioritizing that as much as you're prioritizing the action, that there's no trade-off. You're not like, I'll do sales calls, but I'm not gonna like it, right? That you're like, I'm gonna do sales calls and I'm gonna fall in love with it. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but that's my intention. Not only that, but that you're welcoming the contrast as a tool. Get ready, I'm about to bring it full circle, to build your awareness muscles that then help you reconnect to what you actually want to be doing. You don't have to do anything to create contrast. Contrast will come on its own. That's the subconscious is going to constantly be generating contrast anytime it's in charge. So you don't have to do anything to create contrast. The contrast will come on its own. And that your job is, when it comes, to recognize, oops, I fell off the horse a little bit. Let me get myself back on center. Oh, I'm doing way too much work right now. Whoa, this is hard. Let me get back on center.
I think what happened in my process that feels kind of like what you're talking about. What happened for me is that I was no longer desiring the result of having money, but I was desiring the work that I was going to be doing. Like that's what came in, instead of like I was in the bright, shiny object kind of thing, and it wasn't feeling right. And like when I suddenly had this vision of like doing the actual work and like what, it's like shifted the whole thing.
Can I reflect something to you, Nasima? Up until now, you have wanted one or the other. So you've had moments of wanting the work, but feeling super not clear about the money or your prices in particular. And so then that fucks things up in terms of creating what you really want. And then you've had other moments of like wanting the money. That's what you're just naming, wanting the money, but like it's not that you didn't want the work in those moments, but you weren't connected to that part. You kind of, it was like you lost that. It went into your blind spot. So then you were just focusing on the money, and that kind of fucked things up. So the sweet spot, this is why I have a job, okay? The sweet spot is that it is actually when you choose both that the magic happens, the Peter Pan magic.
I have to just jump in here because I'm relating this, Nasima, to this either or, like this false opposition about how can I focus on sales and be in creating a piece? Like I can't do both at the same time, or like somehow sales actions take me out of my creative process and creative flow. And when I heard myself saying this, I was like, wait a minute, that cannot be right, because sales drives everything. Like, so this has to be a false opposition, right? Because what I want and what I'm here to create, I need a lot of money for. It's going to, like, this little tiny 10-minute dome show has a $500,000 budget. And that's not a high budget for what I'm trying to create. I'm like in, the lower mid. And so I love they're having a similar, like, because it can't be in opposition. That's false. So it's something inside us that's making it seem like that. Yeah,
thank you for sharing that. What I love about that story too, Michaela, is that that's an example where you use that's step 2, according to, this is session 14, step 2, okay, because we talked about it a lot. But the step 2 of using the contrast to change. Like, this is my mastery. I actually had one of my coaches reflect this to me just Tuesday. He was like, I'm talking to Jesse Johnson, right? This is what he said to me. Talking to Jesse Johnson. When you complain about your fucking life, Jesse, you are bragging. That's what he said to me. And I knew that, you know? But there was something, and this is something that is very subtle, but there was a way in which I was complaining, and he was highlighting it for me. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes up, what are you going to do about it? This is your mastery. This is what you fucking teach. And so it's calling me to a higher standard of integrity, that anytime something in my life is not exactly what I want, it's self-indulgent for me to complain about it. Partly because I have an amazing life, so what am I complaining about? But even more than that, because I am a master of pivoting. I'm a master of what I've been teaching today, of using contrast to see what else is possible. And so I just want to highlight that, because at the beginning of the call, Michaela shared something, and it was the counter example. It was like an example of a great number one, great awareness, but no number two. It's kind of an absent next step. What she just named was an example of both. Compassionate, powerful number one. Oh, look, I'm thinking that sales and my art making are separate, right? There was no judgment in that. By the way, Michaela, this was like huge in so many ways for you, right? It was just like noticing like, oh, I wonder why I'm doing that. Right, that kind of curiosity, which by the way is on her list. Interest, engagement with herself. And then immediately, that doesn't seem right. I don't think that's true. Great, I'm gonna just decide that that's not true. Sales drives my artistry. Sales is necessary. So there must be a way for both of these things to happen.
And I just have to share, after I told you guys this, I realized that yesterday was a day where I did both of these things without conflict or opposition. The morning I powered through a bunch of connections and calls and emails, starting to build the network to be able to get people who know and can connect me with sponsors. And then I worked on the piece that I'm working on and unpacked stuff, because everything was packed up to move yesterday morning, right? Unpacked things and laid it out and did some work on it. And I totally know my next steps with the piece, because that was another story. I was like, oh, it's going to take me days to dive in. And then I realized, no, you actually know exactly the next thing to work on with this piece. And you don't need anything in order to start doing it. So I think this is a huge shift.
Yeah, congratulations.
And it felt like flow, like just following the natural energy through the day.
Michaela, you're doing it.
I'm like,
right.
I can do both in the same day, and it doesn't feel like whatever, hauling my energy around.
Yes. So what I'm doing in this call is sharing with you both a descriptive tool to help you understand, in this case, why what Michaela's doing is so fantastic, right? It's like a tool, just an organizational framework for looking at the past. And it's also a prescriptive tool that can guide you as you move forward. It's both. I still see you, Priya. Are you still feeling yourself?
Yeah, every now and then I go, but I'm getting there.
The thing is, okay, even more, I want to take it even further, because the thing is that without these moments, you don't know what this feels like. You can't actually master this thing. I'm talking about riding the horse right now as the metaphors. That's like, in case you're like, but this is how you normally sit. But like this thing of being on the horse, if you don't know what this feels like and this feels like? Abraham says, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And so if Abraham is great at talking about this, because I think they're the masters of welcoming in the whole experience. And they are teaching high level shit. But embedded in their teaching is, yeah, when you know what you don't want, of course, that's great. When you're experiencing contrast, that's where I get that word, contrast, is from Abraham. When you're experiencing contrast, when you're experiencing something that you do not want, do not love, that's equally important. Why? Because it is helping you clarify what you do want. You wouldn't have created the contrast if you were super clear, right? The only way that you create a contrasting experience is when you're somehow sending the message to the universe to give you something that you don't actually want. You would never consciously do that. So the universe sends you what you are unconsciously asking for, and then you're like, oh my God, right? Amazon sends you, I don't know, 5 back scratchers. You're like, oh, I didn't order this. Did I? Really? 5? Okay. Huh. I don't think I care about 5 back scratchers. This really happened. I got 5. I was like, I don't need 5. Like, I don't even really know if I need 1. Maybe I'll play with that. Okay. But 5? No, thanks. No, I can send those back. Oh, okay. I need to be more precise in my ordering. There's nothing wrong with back scratchers. I'm using this example because you guys probably don't have a lot of resistance to this, right? If you got a bunch of back scratchers in the mail, you would just be like, oh, that's the attitude I want you guys to have when things come to you that you do not want, that you're like, oh, why did this come? I don't really like this. And here's the more important thing, actually, for you guys at the stage that you're in now, is that you don't have to figure out too much about why it's coming. You don't have to go delve and process and do a bunch of psychotherapy. You can, but you don't have to. All you have to do is notice, oh, I don't really like this. What I would prefer is this. So now I'm going to reconnect to that because that's what I want. I don't care about back scratchers. I want crystals or whatever. Right? I don't really want more confusion. I'd like clarity. I don't really want more struggle or like challenge. I really like ease. I don't really want no clients. I'd like 2. I'd like 2 new clients. I don't really want to be like tearing my hair out trying to figure out who to call. What would I like? What would it look like, Priya, for clarity to come with ease? What would it look like for these next sales to happen in a way that I've never experienced before? What would that look like? Who is the woman who creates that? Oh, she's that same woman I wrote about. Cool. I'm hypoglycemic. I miscalculated. So I'm gonna run downstairs real quick. And while I do that, I would like for you guys as a group to decide how you wanna spend the last 17 minutes of our call. We're at another 17-minute mark. Because we have enough time that we could look at some evidence, or we could stay in this open coaching field that we've been doing, which has been great. So I'm gonna let you guys, I'll be gone for 60 seconds or less. So you have a short window of time to decide how you'd like to spend the rest of our time.
So what do you think, guys? What are you feeling that would be most valuable? I mean, for me, and I did post something in the Facebook group, but I've just been coming back out of a whole total like collapse, my power, a few weeks. So I'm kind of up for either.
I'm up for either as well. I'd like to look at that call with a woman who's like, I had a bad experience with a coach before. I thought that might be helpful for all of us because I won't be surprised if that comes up for everyone. So
All right.
And what do you feel like you need, Priya?
Oh, am I muted? You guys can hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
a little louder.
To look at evidence. Yeah, I have a fear of that. Nasima, someone saying they had a bad experience. And I would love to look at that if you're open, which it sounds like you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that it would trip me up again, but you know, I think it has the potential to.
You know, I just want to say one thing, Priya, like throughout this call. And by the way, I want to like congratulate all of us that we stepped into private with Jessie.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But you know how we can see things in other people? I just keep having this experience perception of you, Priya, is like you would be the most amazing coach to, like, if I were younger and like your target audience, like the feeling of kind of your clarity and your, at the one hand, softness, and at the other hand, absolute like firmness, and just the feeling of this kind of secure, continuous container that I feel you would hold for me. Like it wouldn't give at any point, you know, it would just like be really steady with whatever I was dealing with. Like I really feel this in you.
Thank you, Michaela.
Yeah, me too. I'm seeing it today more than ever. Yeah.
Good. I got to call on this version of myself to get it together and make some sales and get hired.
Well, and I keep coming back to like your experience as a principal and like that crossing over the mastery here, because
Yeah.
you're you're like the no bullshit principal. Kind, but no bullshit. Leave it at the door.
Yep.
Catch me up.
Oh, we decided we want to hear I had a bad experience with coaching, therefore I don't even want to talk to you. No,
Yeah.
the evidence, and then I was
Zoe
just
call.
reflecting. And I was just reflecting to Priya, like how I've been experiencing her and her capacity as an amazing coach.
Nasima's Zoe call.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Trying to think, how long is that call? I'm trying to think where it kind of came up. It was fairly near the beginning that it came up. The thing around the coaching, that she had a thing around coaching. So
when do you think it happens?
early on in the call, within like the first 5-7 minutes.
Okay.
It's pretty, yeah.
Oh, and it's a 15-minute call.
Yeah, start with the first 5, I guess. Shoot, I'm trying to remember how that went. But I know it was early on.
You develop so much with it. What do you feel like you'll develop with it? I want to know what you're thinking. Confidence. Right. Confidence and skills. Yeah. Which, yeah, and I think you're a good fit for me as well. I'd love to work with you. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me pause here.
Trying to think of where we are, if that came before then or after. But
This is around, I think it's around 6 minutes, 6:30 we're at right now.
it might.
I want to give a suggestion right here though. Are you open to that?
Sure.
So I love what you're doing. What would you get out of it? You're making her sell you.
Yeah.
Okay, more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence. Okay, great. What else?
Mm-hmm.
You're too easy sell. I'd
Yeah.
love to work with you. No, man, what the fuck? Confidence, all right, sounds good. What else? Because this is not a small investment.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really want it. Otherwise, find another body worker.
Mm-hmm.
I charge a multi-5-figure price tag just to start.
Mm-hmm.
This is the difference between you and just some body worker or therapist.
Right.
Is just how you're holding. So same exact question, just do it more.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. Do you want me to skip ahead or do you want me to just press play where I paused?
I think press play where you paused because it might be coming up soon.
Okay.
Yeah, the program sounds great and everything like that. At the moment, I mean, honestly, that although it's better, it is still primitive. And I wouldn't.
Okay. No, so it was before this. It was before this.
Yeah.
So go back to like 2 minutes.
So you do offer anything else to order? Something that way I can partake.
Because she was pretty adamant about hearing the price. Yeah, so start more towards the beginning.
What number do you have in mind?
Go before that.
Sorry, Nasima, say that again.
So I think it was very much in the beginning. So yeah, go back to the beginning, I think. No, I'm remembering. She really wanted to know the price pretty quick.
But I forgot to say I did speak to a coach earlier on in the year, and that in itself, she was amazing. You know, she seemed amazing. It was great. That in itself was really traumatic because she did her. I come from marketing and advertising, so I'm very acutely tuned into any kind of process or feel or anything like that. But she got me, and she asked the same sort of questions, and the big one, what would your life be without this? And then she dropped a number that I don't even make that much, so it's like it's an impossibility. So kind of want to avoid going through that again because it's still a little bit raw.
It was a real letdown for you, huh?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
I think because I was kind of triggered into like, oh God, she's had this experience with another coach and I wanted to tell her I'm going to be your ally. I'm coming onto your side here. I'm not, it's like, okay, I see that you've been hurt.
Okay, so let's slow this down because I think this is good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Are you open to not hearing more?
Sure.
Like if we just talk about what we just heard, is that going to work or is there more that you were hoping that we were going to listen to?
I think. No, I thought that could be good. I think if you think it's enough, because she was really kind of laying out. I'm a marketer. She kind of was taking away all of my tools. She's like, I know these questions.
Stop.
These questions.
Stop.
That's what okay.
Why am I doing that? Anybody? What did Nasima just say? Nasima, you might remember the best, but.
She was taking away all my tools.
Yes. That's why I'm stopping you.
Mm-hmm.
In part because we've just had the session that we've had today, which has been so phenomenal. Yeah. And so I'm gonna just keep holding this really high standard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not feeling the same way, but I'm just curious about, what to do about
but
when I get triggered that way. This is the
moment. You right? So let's say in the past, you've been riding the horse and then you've fallen off the horse, okay? Yeah. Completely fallen off. What just happened when you said she took away all my tools, maybe that's just like this. So that's fine. Mm-hmm. I want you to notice. Mm-hmm. What do you notice about that sentence?
I kind of felt like I was reflecting what I was feeling in the moment of the call,
Which was what?
which was the things that I'm, it's like, oh, that I was relying too much on the tools
What tools?
of the questions instead of
Wait.
listening
This
to
is so good. This is so good. Why does anything that she's saying mean that you are too reliant on your sales questions?
Oh, this is very interesting because when she said that, I immediately wanted to be a different kind of encounter for her. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to do that to you.
Great. So what exactly did she say? And I actually would love for everybody to just write in the chat. What were the words that she said that were activating for you as a listener, or Nasima for you in the moment, or in replaying it, either way? And I can even go back because it wasn't that much. You just see it for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big one, what would your life be without this? And then she dropped a number that I don't even make that much, you know, so it's like, it's an impossibility. So kind of.
I'm not gonna try to find it, but there was also the moment where she said it was traumatic.
Yeah, that was before. Yeah.
So she's talking about, this is important, and this is so juicy. Let me just actually check in with you guys. Could we go a little later, or do you have to get off right at?
Like 5 minutes maybe.
Okay.
A little. That's okay.
Do other people have 5 minutes if we need it? Michaela? Okay. Let's go 5 minutes over. Let's just do that. I think it's worth it. So Nasima's doing great. She's holding a powerful energy. And then the woman, Zoe? Yes, Zoe says, here are the reasons why I'm nervous. Because there's some things that are happening right now, or there's some things that I experienced before that just made me feel I have to protect myself. Like she literally says I was traumatized, which, just FYI, for Jesse Johnson would be major red flag. But for Nasima, it's like, ooh, great, that's my mastery. Trauma is what I help people heal. So immediately, what I want you to do is turn this back on her. Do not, right? Because she's telling you, Nasima, and this is the thing that's challenging for you, because your training before our work together was always to go small, because you don't want to re-traumatize someone. You don't want to work with someone and hurt them. You don't want to, right? That's exactly what you just said. You want to be their ally. This is going to be different. And that's true, but not from a place of this. If you have to do this in order for them to be an ally, in order for them to experience you as an ally, it's not going to work.
No.
So that's the moment to be like, ooh, that's good. Let's pause there, Zoe. So I'm reminding you of this old experience. What are you going to do to experience something different this time? Because I'm not interested in participating in a new trauma. As you know, I heal trauma. That's my mission. I'm not going to continue in this conversation if there is any possibility that you're going to use it to re-traumatize yourself. So what are you going to do differently? Both of you are saying wow. What's the wow?
It just makes so much sense. It's like, so much sense. And I want that kind of clarity in that moment. Yeah, makes so much sense.
Well, so I'm, again, in the interest of time, I'm kind of going a little fast. So I'm giving you the experience. Now track backwards. What is it that you have to be clear about in order to say something like that? Like, why does it make sense to say that?
Because it's encapsulating her experience and letting her have her experience.
What else?
And I'm being an authority.
Yes.
And I'm not letting her sort of sway me off the horse.
That's right.
That's what that does. Yeah.
This is huge for you. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So, and I do this too, right? The story I told at the beginning, the sales call that I had that we ended up looking at, something that she said like sent me into like, ooh, I got to defend and protect. I do not feel safe with this person. Mm-hmm. And so I gave up my authority in a way it's rather unusual, but I still do it too. So don't make that wrong. Okay. Right. This is all for learning. You didn't do a bad job. You did a great job. You actually did a great job. And there's more. Mm-hmm. And the more happens when you're willing to be authoritative, when you're willing to hold control and not be dominated by their fear and trauma and whatever baggage they're carrying around. That's powerful, Michaela.
I mean,
did you see what she wrote, Nasima?
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing because when I do that with clients who are in crisis, it's like that's just there like that. But for some reason in this place of the sales call, it's a much more rocky ride because I'm not so used to doing it, I guess. It's a new horse.
It's partly that. I think it's also because when you have someone that's there in your office and they've paid you for the session already, or that whatever that part is clear, you feel permission.
Yeah. Yes.
To take the authority more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I'm inviting you all to do is to trust that if you are talking to someone in a sales conversation, regardless of how the sales conversation started, to trust that they have said yes to that on a soul level. And therefore you have the permission not to coach them, right? I still teach and encourage you guys to ask, are you open to a little coaching on this little piece? Mm-hmm. If you feel called to do that. But asking her how she's going to show up, that's not coaching. That's just you guiding the conversation. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm not interested in you being traumatized either. So we're allies in that. But what are you going to do differently? Because we are having a sales conversation. And you can say that. You were traumatized in a previous conversation around money. I have no idea if my price is going to feel traumatic for you. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I'm not going to tell it to you. If you're going to use it to harm yourself, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do different?
Yeah.
And you don't have to say it that way. That's my way. Okay.
Well, yeah.
But the other piece here, I just want to bring back. So on your list of how you want to experience yourself and show up, this strength that you named, this is what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And so then the next time you're in a conversation with someone like Zoe who says something and you feel yourself, not in my strength. Okay, wait, let me find it again. Mm-hmm. And you can say that. Zoe, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Oh, you know what? Pause right there. You just gave me something to think about. Let me just hold tight for 1 moment. And fucking reclaim your center. Because that's what's going to serve them. It doesn't just feel good to you. It also feels good to you. It's also aligned to exactly what you want to experience in your life. But more than that, it's what will help them.
Yeah.
Because she said no
Mm-hmm.
to the transformation that she wanted. She wanted to hire you. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard her say that, but she said no. Is that true?
Yeah, because she doesn't have the money now.
She didn't have the money then. She doesn't
Yeah.
have the money now. What's going to change?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zoe, when are you going to be important enough to invest in your own healing? You have attracted two, not one, two powerful people that you felt drawn to work with. When are you going to say yes? Now, and again, if by some chance she and I got into a conversation or whatever, if I was talking with anyone who told me a story like this, I talked with two people, I'd be like, well, you're going to have to really convince me that it's worthwhile to continue this conversation. Because if you've said no twice, what's going to change now?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I even talk to you if you aren't willing to say yes to yourself? Okay. Is that good? Helpful? Clear?
Yes.
This session was so fucking awesome, guys. You guys are discovering who you are, who you need to be. And when you connect to that, all the other stuff will be clear. That's the thing. When you're in your authority, when you're in your confidence, when you're in your calm, connected to your vision, you don't need me to script anything for you. You know what's right for you to do. You know what's in alignment. That's why it was worthwhile to spend 2 hours to just help you find this sensation. Oh, this is who I am. And then, side note, part of why I love doing this work is because it continuously reconnects me to who I am. Every time we talk about this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, this is who I am. Right? So that's part of why it's so important for you to have clients and be living your purpose and making your art. Because that's what refuels you and reconnects you also. Right? Because then you have an awesome coaching conversation. You're like, man, this is exactly what I was supposed to be doing. You put your hands on someone and their whole life changes. And you're like, yes, this is it. You create the peace and their lives are transformed, activated. They claim a part of themselves they've never even seen before. Right? So it's important that you be doing your work for you. It's important that you be doing your work for others. So go for it. You guys are ready. You guys are set. And just keep playing, right? See how long, see if you can play with staying connected to that list of words for the next whatever chunk of time. Give yourself a time, set a timer, set an alarm clock, and use that alarm to just check in. And if you're still going strong, give yourself a huge pat on the back. If you've forgotten it, give yourself a huge pat on the back and recommit yourself, and then set another alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
I love you guys so much. Really, really, really good work today. Really good.
Thank you, Bessie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.